We all know the Clippers are shorthanded, but we also know the Clippers play well with their backs against the wall, which makes me shake my head sometime. And, by me saying that, there's a player on the Clippers, honestly, that makes me shake my head the most. Let's talk about it. You've heard me say on many occasions the Clippers are the most confusing team in the NBA I've ever seen in my life. And the Clippers have all the talent in the world. But at times, they just play better with their back against the wall. I don't really understand it. I mean, they just really do. And it's amazing to watch this team at times because they could be shorthanded. They could be down and out. They could be looked down upon, but they find ways to win. They find ways to, sustain, their level of gameplay in regards to going out there with pride, fighting hard, giving everything you got, and playing well with their backs against the wall. I just don't understand how they can do that. And then at times when they have most of their pieces on the floor, they play lackadaisical. It's just really weird with this team. And I've said that since this team has been assembled with Kawhi Leonard going there. Very, very up and down type team, but very, very talented team, very deep team at that. And a lot of people want to discredit the Clippers because, they're not wearing purple and gold. But at the same time, they're definitely a formidable team if they can get healthy, and they're definitely a threat to the Warriors or anybody else in the NBA if the Clippers are healthy, and that's just the way it is. But one thing with the Clippers, there's certain players on there that I look at and say that makes me shake my head the most. One of them, of course, was Marcus Morris. I've said that in the past about him in regards to how he plays and everything like that. But he's not the player I'm talking about today. Honestly, he played, very well last night against the Celtics, 23 and 10. Big double-double by him, big points, came through when the Clipper Nation needed him to come through, when it was on his shoulders, and he was the guy. He had the green light, as I said, and he took advantage of that green light, which is really good by him, So definitely shout out to Marcus Morris Sr. for that. But, honestly, the player that I want to talk about that confuses me the most on the Clippers has got to be Zubac. Ivica Zubac, to me, I had a lot of high hopes for this guy, and I still kind of do, but they're just waning as time goes on. I mean, when he first came in the NBA, or when I first basically noticed him on the Lakers, a few years back, I definitely saw a lot of talent in him. I definitely saw a lot of talent that, he had in the beginning of his career. I mean, just straight up raw skills. And you don't see that out of like a lot of big men. But it just seems like as time goes, it seems like he's just not panning out to the player that a lot of people envision him to be. And I think Ty Lue looks at him and says to himself, man, this guy's got talent, but why isn't it developing the way it should? And I'm pretty sure there's some people who would say, Zubac is a bust, Zubac is not, this, not that. It becomes a question after a while whether he is a bust or not, because it's like, man, the talent that he's shown, in instances, even with the Clippers. I mean, there's some nights where he'll have 17 and 8, something like that. And, he'll have 14 and 12, 19 and 9. I'd seen him one night where he had like, 19 and I think it was 19 and 12 he had, and it's like, you look at nights like that where it's like, man, okay, he'll do it for a few games here and there, play pretty good. But then all of a sudden, it's almost like I don't know. It's almost like he just reverts back into a shell. He doesn't really have that breakout mentality. And I feel like that's not what the Clippers need. I feel like that's not what the Clippers need going forward. I mean, I feel like, what he's bringing to the Clippers is not helping them, become a better team. Because, I mean, each year you have to get better. You can't stay stagnant. You can't stay repetitive. You have to elevate your gameplay every year. You have to elevate your teammates every year. The coach has to elevate his game plans every year. The organization has to elevate its features, stadiums or arenas or jerseys or something. There always has to be elevation in everything that you're doing in life. And this is my point. when I look at Zubac, I just don't really see the elevation in his game the way I'm supposed to. I feel like I'm supposed to see a lot better version of him by now. I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm asking myself sometime, is it a situation where he's not being put in the best position to play at his highest level? Is Ty Lue not the coach for him? Is Ty Lue not developing him or getting him in the right spots to be successful the way he's supposed to be? I'm just not sure, because when I look at him play at times he looks like he can, become a really good, solid big man in the NBA that a lot of people respect and, the way he plays, but at the same time, there's nights like last night. Now, I know he didn't take many shots. I think he only took 3 shots, but he only had 1 point. 1 point that's not good basketball. And like I said, I don't know, is it because his minutes are being diminished or he's not playing as many minutes? But the reason why he's not playing as many minutes as he probably feel like he should or he wants to is because he's such an up and down player. Ty Lue really doesn't know how to implement him in the offense or implement him in the game long enough for him to be effective. And he's not like a great shot blocker or anything like that. So it's not like he's a Rudy Gobert on defense and he just can't score on offense. He's really kind of ineffective on both sides of the floor when he's not playing well. And I don't know if it's because, like I said, Ty Lue is not putting him in the best position. I don't know if it's because of the minutes that he's not getting. Who knows what it is? But honestly, it doesn't matter how many minutes you get. You have to be as productive as possible in every minute you get on the floor of the NBA, because it is a blessing to be in the NBA. It is a blessing to be on a stage like that, playing on a high level that everybody can see you, and you're making great money and you're living a good lifestyle. It's a blessing every day, and all players should look at it that way. I can't tell them that literally because I don't know them, but at the same time, or I shouldn't say I don't know a lot of them, but I know of 1 or 2 or knew of 1 or 2. That's another story for another day. But still, my point is, you have to go out there and play as hard as you can, no matter how many minutes you play. And honestly, Zubac, the way he's been playing, lately, he's shown signs some games, and then some games he's played piss poor. And I don't know if it's because Hardenstein is, just outplaying him, or Hardenstein's getting more minutes. As I said, who knows what it is? And now Serge Ibaka's healthy, who knows? But my point is, you just need more out of Zubac. And to me, honestly, if the Clippers hold on to Zubac, if they don't trade him, they need to find a way to get more out of this guy, because he honestly, if you look at his talent, from the years he's been in the NBA to now, he has the most talent on that team as far as a big man, besides Serge Ibaka. I mean, of course, Serge Ibaka has, is definitely, more versatile and all those things, but talent-wise, Zubac can be a really, really good big man in the NBA. I'm not going to say he's going to be as good as maybe Serge Ibaka was or something like that. But I mean, I think he can come close to that if they really develop him the way they're supposed to, or if he develops himself or wants to develop himself the way he's supposed to, and put himself out there and want to, get better. It seems like Zubac plays sometime like he doesn't really care whether he gets better or not. He's just good at what he's good at, and that's all he's good at, and that's all he's ever going to be, and that's not good enough. You got to want to elevate your game to another level so that, coaches can put you in different positions to be successful and add to your game more, so coaches can trust you more in bigger situations and give you more minutes because they trust your instincts and your thought process when you're in games, and the impact you have on games allow coaches and stuff like that to trust you more. And I just don't feel like Ty Lue trusts Zubac that much, because Hardenstein just got there and he's damn near taking most of the minutes away from Zubac, or honestly, he's just outplaying him a lot of nights. I mean, there's been many games I've seen this season where I would take Hardenstein over Zubac any day. I don't know if it's because Hardenstein's energy. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't seem like, Zubac is playing to the level of expectation that a lot of people believe that he could. And I just don't see it myself. I see a lot of up and down basketball, and honestly, I just expect more out of him. I expected more out of him this season. I really did. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like he does play better when Kawhi Leonard is there, because him and Kawhi Leonard, with the pick and roll little game that they have, or little system that him and Kawhi Leonard has, I feel like he plays better when Kawhi Leonard is there. And maybe that's just attributed to Kawhi Leonard looking for him more, or Kawhi Leonard wanting to insert him in the offense more, or maybe that's the only person that Kawhi Leonard sees open open at times when he's, getting ready to do his thing on offense, which is okay. But Zoo has got to be more impactful. And that's the only way I think the Clippers are really going to take it to the next level, is if they have an impactful big man in the paint. Now, if they can get that out of Serge Ibaka, if they keep him or don't trade him, or whoever they keep or trade or whoever, okay, that'd be great. But unless they get a substantial presence in the paint on both ends of the floor, I don't think the Clippers will be able to take it to that next level. Or if they do take it to the next level, it's going to be so much harder. It's going to take a Herculean effort like last year, down 0-2 every series, making dramatic comebacks. Kawhi Leonard shooting out of his mind, playing like he's, playing like he's on a video game like 2K, like he can't miss or something like that. It's going to take a Herculean effort like that. And then you saw what comes with that. Players get hurt, players get tired, fatigue. They get gassed, they get worn out, and you still, if you're in the playoffs, you got round after round after round. You have to, it might be every round in the playoffs, you might go through a 7-game series. So that's definitely bad if it happens that way. But this is my point. It shouldn't take a Herculean effort for Kawhi or PG to come out and do all these things when they got all this talent on this team. And Zubac is a part of the talent that they have, but they have to find a way to either get that out of him or find a way to trade him. I mean, honestly, it's just one of the two, because Zubac can't have nights like last night. And then I think the night, the game before that, he scored like 8 points or something like that in 16 minutes or something like that. But I mean, it's just not good enough for what the talent that he has. It's not good enough. You're not getting good enough production out of him. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if he's being put in the right position or not, or I don't know if he's just not developing the way he should or the way he's supposed to. Who knows what the situation is, but I do know this. They're not getting the max out of him, and that's a problem. It's just straight up. It's just a problem, because he's one of those type guys. He's a part of that core, that anchor. He should be the anchor for them in regards to, making good defensive plays, getting more offensive rebounds, being more of a presence in the paint, and initiating himself offensively a little bit more. I mean, he just should be. Isaiah Hardenstein should be honestly, this is how it should go. When Serge Ibaka's healthy, 100% healthy, he should be the starter. If he's 100% healthy, playing how he's supposed to. Zubac is supposed to be number 2. Hardenstein's supposed to be the number 3. But it's just not that way, because Zubac is just not living up to expectation. He just isn't. It's almost like now Hardenstein is number 1 and Zubac and Serge is number 2, or maybe sometimes Serge will be the number 1 possibly, and Hardenstein be number 2, and Zubac is the number 3 big man. It just, it's just flip-flop around where it shouldn't be. Zubac should be the presence, the big man on this team. He should be the number 1 guy as far as the center position, and that's the way it should be, because honestly, he's been there. He's been in the league long enough to know what, his good area, his strengths and weaknesses, basically. If you've been in the league long enough to know your strengths and weaknesses, that means you've been in the league long enough to figure them out, to find a way to be effective in this league and figure out what type of player you're going to be and how you're going to affect the team in good ways instead of bad ways. So my point is, if Zubac doesn't find a way to get better, they're going to have to do what they got to do. They're going to have to either let him go or trade him or something. I hate to say that, because I actually like Zubac. I really do. I liked him ever since he was on the Lakers. I said, man, that big dude, that foreign big dude right there has got some talent. And, if he can just develop, get developed by the right coaches and right situation. I mean, he looked pretty good on the Lakers actually at that time. So like I said, that's why I said I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's just the fact that he's not catching on, or he's just slow, or whatever the case may be. I don't know what it is, but it's just very, very demoralizing to see, because when you see a guy like that, who has potential, you want to see him, prevail. You want to see him succeed if you see potential in somebody. And just because somebody has potential doesn't mean they're always going to succeed or live up to it. But when you see potential, you really hate to see it go to waste. And I feel like he has a lot of potential. I really do. I always did. And I'm just really disappointed because I'm not seeing the presence of a big man that the Clippers wish they had in him, which would make them such a better team. Because honestly, I said last year, I said in this year's videos, if the Clippers had a big man that can stay healthy and, give them versatility on both ends of the floor, they wouldn't be down 0-2 in no series against nobody. I don't care who it is in the West. They wouldn't be down 0-2 against anybody, because the presence they have in the paint would make them a such more deadlier team, because now they can play inside out. They can kick it in the paint to Zubac. He can do his thing, or if he can't, find the person in the corner in the wing for the three, which is probably Kawhi or PG when they're healthy, knock down the shot, or find Marcus Morris or Nicholas Batum at the top of the key. I mean, this is what I'm saying. When you have a big man who's versatile and who gives you a lot of different elements of the game from different aspects on both sides of the floor, it makes you so much more of a dynamic team. That's the reason why a lot of people think the Lakers should be much better and Anthony Davis should be the number one guy, because he gives them a lot of versatility when he's mentally engaged and if he's playing at a top 5 level, because he can shoot, he can shoot 18 footers, he can step out and shoot threes. He's dominant in the paint when he wants to be, even though he doesn't show it half the time. And this is the reason why a lot of people look at him as a top 5 talent, because he can pretty much do everything. And if he's double teaming the paint, he's underrated. He can kick it out to the 3-point line and, help the team that way. And like I said, he will block shots at times. And this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying Zubac is Anthony Davis by no means, because he's not that great of a player, not even close. But what I'm saying is Zubac can be much better and impact the game so much better than what he does. That would allow the Clippers to be a really, really good team if situations like now happen, which Kawhi and PG is out. Now, Kawhi and PG is out. The team changes, the dynamic changes, the offense changes, everything changes. But if you have a big man that you trust like that, who can come in and deliver, give the team so much versatility, they wouldn't really miss a beat. They would just, they will win a lot of games, not only off their talent, but because they have a substantial big man in the paint that a lot of teams are not prepared for. Specifically, the reason why the Utah Jazz are a good team. Donovan Mitchell is on the way of becoming a superstar. I don't think he's eclipsed a superstar yet. I don't think he's got there yet. But the reason why they're really good is because Rudy Gobert is so dominant on the defensive end. It allows them to be flexible on the offensive end. Whereas you have a Jordan Clarkson come off the bench and take wild shots, even though Jordan Clarkson is pretty damn dope. I'm not gonna lie. That dude he can score with the best of them, I think. But still, it gives you more flexibility on the offensive end when you have a big man who's dominant, at least on one side of the floor. I'm not saying Zubac gotta be dominant on both sides, but at least if he had a presence on one side of the floor or both, which would be better, the Clippers would be a much better team. Because like I said, hypothetically, if Zubac was a defensive guy like Rudy Gobert, how great would the Clippers be with or without PG or Kawhi? I mean, they can miss one of them and still be a great team. Now, they can't miss both of them and be a great team, but if they're missing one of them, they still could be a very, very good, formidable team, because they have something they can rely on, an anchor, a defensive prowess that allows them to be more flexible on offense, in which I think that's what Zubac could be, but he just hasn't developed and turned into that, and he just hasn't lived up to that so far, and I think that's what's hurting the Clippers a lot. And I don't know what Ty Lue and the Clippers organization is going to do, but some moves going to have to be made, or some adjustments and lineups going to have to be made, or something, because I don't know. Zubac is just a player I think they think a lot of, and they just, they think a lot of him, like I said, but at the same time, thinking a lot of a player and a player playing the way they're supposed to is two different things. And I think they want to keep him, but at this point, if they're not going to see more progression than what they've seen, it really might not make any sense. And I hate to say that, because I do want to see Zubac around, like I said, but the way Hardenstein plays, and if Serge Ibaka gets back to close to where he was, then where does that leave Zubac? That leaves him out of the rotation. That leaves him being a player on the bench that's just filling a roster spot and hardly playing no minutes. And then when the playoffs come, he might be unplayable by then. Ty Lue might not even be putting him in the rotation at all, because the rotation shrinks when the playoff comes. So I really hope Zubac gets it together. But at the same time, I hope the Clippers do what they need to do to help themselves and help the team get better, because, with injuries and everything that's happening to them, they need all the talent they can get. And, they need all the support they can get too. And having a very good big man in the paint, or a big man in the paint with a real presence like that, like the way Serge Ibaka can play, and the way Hardenstein kind of plays with that high energy, is what they need. And so I hope Zubac gets it together, but we'll just see how it goes. But hey, that's my take on the situation. You leave any comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think. As always, and hey, Cali out.